Yo, what's up guys, it's Trev back again here bringing another video. So I'm going to be talking about the upcoming matchup in October for the UFC Heavyweight Championship between Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos. So this should be a pretty interesting matchup for the UFC Heavyweight Championship. For what a lot of people will consider to be the #1 heavyweight in the world. For me, I kind of consider it to be probably the #2 heavyweight in the world, and maybe arguably #1, depending on how the Strikeforce Grand Prix goes and that kind of stuff. But definitely, whoever wins the UFC title will be one of the top 3 heavyweights in the world for sure. So this is going to be a prediction video, and we'll get into a little bit of how I feel the fight's going to go afterwards. I just want to talk a little bit about the history of these two guys. So basically, both guys came into the UFC pretty much newcomers, both having maybe, like 4, 5, 6, 7 fights, something like that. And then they started up in the UFC, and both guys have gone undefeated all the way through pretty much. They've beaten pretty much everybody. I mean, Cain Velasquez was even beating Brock Lesnar in his last fight, beating Big Nog, knocking him silly. Junior Dos Santos beating Shane Carwin, Roy Nelson. I mean, these guys have gone through everybody. And it just so happened that Cain Velasquez got the title shot first before Junior Dos Santos did, even though a lot of people felt like Junior Dos Santos should have had that title shot first. But either way, it doesn't really matter. We get to see them face up now anyway, and determine who the best is. So far, Cain Velasquez is the favorite for the fight. A lot of people feel like he's going to take this, and rightfully so. He has shown to be pretty much unstoppable lately. I mean, every single one of his fights, nobody has done any damage to him at all. Like, not at all. Like, I can't even think of maybe one occasion Check Congo hit him with a few good right hands, and Cain just walked right through him. He got hit, just walked right through him, shot and took down Check, over and over again. Even though he got hit with some pretty big bombs, he just kept coming. So that was very impressive. And aside from that Check Congo fight, I mean, he's beating the snot out of everybody. I mean, when he fought Ben Rothwell, he just dominated him. Even Brock Lesnar took him down a couple times, but really got dominated. Cain Velasquez is a scary dude. I mean, he's very well rounded. He's got awesome takedowns. His stand-up is really good. And of course, above all else, his cardio is amazing. I mean, this guy pushes such a ferocious pace. He pushes a pace like, almost nobody else I can think of, except for maybe like Clay Guida at lightweight. But aside from that, I really don't think of it. I can't think of another guy that pushes that kind of pace, especially at heavyweight. Heavyweights definitely. Most heavyweights do not fight like Cain Velasquez. He fights just like he's just like the Energizer Bunny. The guy just never gets tired. It's pretty crazy to see. He just keeps going and going, and while all these other guys wear out and they get tired, he's just the same way all the way through, and he just pushes such a pace. It's crazy to see. Now the thing is with Junior Dos Santos, has got good cardio too. It's not like with some of the bigger guys like Brock Lesnar and Shane Carwin. There's always a worry with those bigger guys of them gassing out and tiring out. With Junior Dos Santos, we haven't seen him gas out or tire out. I mean, in the Roy Nelson fight, he got a little bit tired in the third, but it was kind of like, I mean, how big of a deal was it really? Not that big of a deal. He kind of knew the fight was over. He probably didn't want to get knocked out, and kind of sat back a little bit because he knew he'd already won the fight. So this will be a 5-round fight. So that could be a factor. I think that Cain's way of winning this fight would be to use his cardio and tire JDS out. Use his wrestling, turn this into a wrestling match, and tire JDS out. However, I will say that Shane Carwin was not very successful against JDS when it came to wrestling. I mean, he got him down once, and JDS was able to push off and pretty much get right back up. So Junior Dos Santos' takedown defense is impressive. He's like a bigger version of Chuck Liddell used to be. Great boxing, and guys try to take him down and they can't get him down. Junior Dos Santos is one of those guys who he really does well keeping the fight standing, and he really uses his boxing really, really well. I mean, we've seen some boxers come into MMA before and do fairly well, but not like JDS. I mean, JDS uses almost no kicks, almost none. Like, I can't remember seeing him hurt somebody with a kick before, ever. And he just uses boxing. He fights at a boxer's range, and he's able to avoid takedowns, almost completely avoid the takedowns. Even of Shane Carwin, he was able to avoid takedowns. Roy Nelson wasn't able to take him down really. And even when they get him down, he gets back up, and he's got good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on the ground. I'm sure he's got better submissions than Cain does. So really, I see it going this way. I mean, Cain can win this fight if he, uses his conditioning, uses his wrestling, and is able to get this fight down and tire JDS out. But otherwise, and more likely, I think we're going to see JDS, be boxing, because he's obviously got the advantage standing up. I mean, I don't see anybody else in anywhere, in the UFC or anywhere else being able to box with JDS or stand up and strike with JDS, except for maybe two guys. Alistair Overeem, I think, would probably outstrike JDS with his world class, being that he's the best kickboxer in the world. Alistair would probably be able to beat JDS standing. Maybe Sergey Kharitonov. That would be close to see. I'd like to see that. That'd be interesting to see. But other than that, there's nobody in the UFC heavyweight division that can stand with JDS. And Cain Velasquez is not, is no different, in my opinion, I think. Of course, I'm making a prediction, so I could be wrong. But, that being said, if Cain cannot get him down, this fight's over. He's basically going to, JDS is going to box Cain's face in. And, he's going to outstrike him like crazy. And, in this situation, seeing as how Carwin really couldn't keep JDS down at all, will Velasquez be able to? I mean, it's hard to say. But I think in this fight, if you're a betting man and the odds are in Velasquez's favor, you bet on JDS. That's my opinion, because you got a 5-round fight here. And you've got a boxer with great takedown defense against a wrestler who's not the best wrestler in the UFC heavyweight division, right? Who's had surgery, has been out for a year, who's known for good conditioning, but isn't really known to finish a lot of his past fights. Definitely not with submission, and in terms of ground and pound and that kind of stuff, really hasn't really shown too much of. I mean, he did knock out Big Nog, but I mean that's kind of like Big Nog's old. I mean, and Brock Lesnar he did. But I just feel like JDS has a better chance in this fight than Cain does. Cain can win by conditioning, but I don't see him win by striking. I really don't. So I'm going to pick JDS in this fight. I'm going to say probably a second or third round TKO or decision. And I'd say probably the percentages, I think I'd have to go 60-40 with JDS. So that's my prediction, guys. Let me know what you think. Write in the comments. If you like this video, please subscribe. I'm going to be doing lots, all the time, MMA videos talking about some stuff. So for now, later. Peace.